Welcome back, everyone. Oz here, and today I've got some r/OhNoConsequences. As per usual, I'll be reading you the post, giving you my opinions, and I hope you do the same down in the comments below. And without further ado, let's jump right into it.
Wait. Before we start, does this interest you? This distinguished gentleman will be going live on makeshift.com/3possumsinatrenchcoat plushie. It'll be linked in the description because that is a hell of a link. But at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time today, this'll be going live, and you can get one for yourself. By the possums, 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 by the possums. Now to your regularly scheduled program. Cross-posted from r/advice. Girl, 20 female, I, 20 male, used to bully in high school is making me lose all my friends. I was an asshole back in high school. I thought I knew all there was to know. I was very popular and let it get to my head. I bullied more kids than just her, but she was a common target for me. She was overweight, sorta weird and awkward, and I guess I just decided to bully her due to my own insecurities. She left school after 10th grade, and no one really heard from her until now. This chick has literally done a 180 in appearance. Like, she's tanned, lost so much weight, has gained over 2,000 followers on Instagram, and became quite well known in my city amongst people. The other week, a school friend of mine had talked to her at a bar and apparently said I traumatized her in school. I do truly feel so bad that she feels this way, but... Oops, said the quiet part out loud there. I do truly feel so bad that she feels this way, but now I'm finding out she's literally telling everyone this, even people I didn't go to school with. I understand she's still very much hurt by the things I said to her back in school. They were beyond wrong and fucked up. But we were 16. She doesn't know me or how much I've grown, and I just think it's a little unfair she's going around telling people this, because now a few of my friends have cut me off after she told them things I had said, but they were dumb 16-year-old comments. What do I do about this? Damn, man. I'm so sorry you feel that way. See, that little comment there actually pretty much spells out everything. You're not sorry about what you've done, you're simply blaming on the fact that you were 16 and dumb. You're not taking accountability for your actions, you're using the guise of immaturity as a way to scapegoat what you used to be. Going with the old, well, that was the old me. You don't know how much I've grown and changed since then. Well, if you have grown and changed, start with saying you're sorry. Because it's clear you're fucking not. Saying that you feel bad that she feels that way, that she feels as though the comments that you made while bullying her in high school traumatized her, but not actually going with the approach of apologizing for your actions, spells out that you haven't actually matured. In the slightest, you're still the same person. The thing is also, what did you do and say to her? Because they must have been some pretty fucked up things that some of your college friends are looking at you, hearing what you used to do in high school and thinking, yeah, I don't want to associate with that anymore. And the fact that you're not telling us speaks volumes as to what you've done. Maybe you should actually apologize for what you did in the past. And not apologizing because you're losing friends either. Actually fucking apologizing. Because it means nothing if you only apologize because you're losing friends or, hey, people are finding out what I used to do to you and I'm so sorry for that. That's a bullshit apology. Don't fucking do that. Actually take accountability and apologize for exactly what you used to say and do. It's gonna be really hard, but I'm pretty sure it's gonna be less hard than the torment you put the people through in high school. Cross-posted from r/advice. Had an affair and lost my wife. Need advice on how to get my family back. I'm a 36 male who was married to my wife M, 32 female, for the last 7 years. Together for 5 before that. She and I have 3 kids together, 8 male and 4 male, and a 2-month-old girl. About a year ago, I started having a relationship with a girl at my work, Mel, 23 female. Mel was a lot of fun to be around and always made me feel good when I was around her. It was stupid, but I started the affair because she always complimented me and laughed at my jokes, and I found her attractive. We started seeing each other regularly, and I started making up frequent business trips just so I could sleep at her place or go on small trips together. This went on for about 8 months before my wife M confronted me. She had seen the text pop up on my MacBook when she was using it to book our yearly family trip and asked me about it as soon as I came home. I tried to brush it off, saying it's spam, but she didn't believe me. I ended up admitting everything and telling her she isn't the person I married anymore, and she never makes me feel good or laughs at my jokes the way Mel does. She handled everything with grace. She didn't cry or yell, but just said that she thinks it would be best if I moved on. I was a little shocked by this. I thought there would be at least a discussion, but I agreed, as I wanted to be with Mel. It's been about 4 months since that night. I now live in a small apartment with Mel and only get to see my kids once a week. Mel has absolutely no interest in the kids and will leave me for the day to her best friend's house every time to avoid the kids. Mel is very messy, leaving her stuff everywhere all the time, and she never cleans or cooks. She's also constantly drinking or smoking weed and always going out to the clubs with her friends. We've been arguing about this pretty regularly, and all of our arguments end in screaming matches. My wife and I never argued like this, never screamed at each other. Mel makes just above minimum wage, so I have to pay for everything by myself now. My wife is a nurse practitioner making well over 6 figures, and I pay her $2.5K every month in child support as was ordered by the court. I can't save any money now, whereas we lived extremely comfortably on our 2-salary income and had a hefty savings and retirement fund. I lost all of that in the divorce. In hindsight, I can see my wife was exhausted because she did everything for everyone. She worked full-time, she always got the kids ready and took them to school/daycare, packed lunches for everyone, including me, cleaned, did homework with her 8-year-old, made dinner and cleaned up that, did everyone's laundry, etc., and the list goes on and on. She's Superwoman, and I regret I didn't see that. I miss our sex life. It was incredible, and I crave that intimacy, whereas with Mel, it's like a dead fish. No connection or intimacy. Now that I'm doing 100% of everything by myself while working full-time, I get it. I get why my wife didn't always have energy for everything I wanted to do. I just want everything back how it was. How can I approach this with my wife? How can I show her I'm a changed man who only cares about his family? And yes, I know I'm the asshole. That's not why I'm here. I feel like we've read one very similar to this one, but there are details in it that don't feel familiar, and none of the links pop up in my archive, so I wouldn't be surprised if it turns out this is just a very similar circumstance, or perhaps maybe even I messed up in my archive. My archive is what I use to cross-check to see if I previously covered a post or not. I don't know if I'm reading this wrong here, but when I read this, I get the impression that he doesn't actually miss his wife. He misses having sex with her, he misses everything she did for him, but he doesn't miss her. We only get mentions of the things that she did for him as well as their amazing sex life. We don't really get any additional comments about what he misses about his wife's personality or about her herself or anything that would actually make a relationship a relationship. Instead, we see a 36-year-old guy here who got butterflies in his tummy for a 23-year-old girl who was very much not mature and not what he was expecting. She's still young and doesn't have the maturity that he's used to, and goddamn is he feeling it. Okay, so I had the temptation to reference Hell of a Boss's House of Osmodeus, which then made me realize if I did cover this post, I probably would have made that same exact reference. So I threw it in a little search thing to see if anyone in the comments had previously mentioned that, found the original video, and no, it is an entirely different post. So the concept of a man falling in love with a younger woman, then finding out she's drastically too immature for him, and then also single-handedly destroying his family in the process, is not an uncommon factor to happen here. Shocking. Cross-posted from r/Am I the Asshole? Am I the asshole for refusing to help my brother and sister-in-law while they're struggling by meal prepping a few meals a week for them and their kids? Bit of a mouthful of a title. I, 17 male, have an older brother, James, 28 male, who's married to Erica, and has 3 kids with another on the way. Me and James don't have a relationship. I feel like he resents me for being born, or like I stole our parents from him or something, because he was always a huge jerk to me. I'm talking putting stuff where I couldn't reach them when I was little, locking me in my room because he could, and dropping me off at the neighbor's house when he agreed to babysit and was getting paid for it, so our parents could go out. When James met Erica, she was a jerk to me too. She made fun of the way I talk because of my stutter, and she ignored me unless our parents were there. For a while, my parents and James had a bad relationship because of how he, and Erica later, treated me. But they made up and became close again and stayed close, even when he didn't invite me to his wedding. They ignored my birthdays. They ignored me at Christmas. They never invited me to parties they threw, and it's not an age thing because kids younger than me get invited. It's all a me thing. I asked James why he hates me, and he ignored me. And when I tried to push him to answer, he laughed in my face and told me to get away from him. James and Erica have their 3 kids, who I don't know, by the way, and they have another on the way. Erica's had a rough pregnancy, and my parents help keep their house clean and stuff on weekends, and they have sent them money. But my parents don't really cook much, and I cook usually on Sundays and meal prep lunches for school and other stuff. I pay for the ingredients I use because I don't really like the stuff Mom and Dad sometimes buy, and it's sometimes because we/they mostly eat takeout for dinner. James started asking for food, so Erica and him didn't need to worry about that so much. My parents said I should do it since I meal prep already, and James said it would be perfect. My parents said to use the stuff they buy and meal prep for James's family, but I told them I won't put my time into making food for people who treat me like shit. My parents said they're still our family, and James was like, what the fuck, why are you okay with hurting my family when our parents told him? My parents said they were very disappointed in me, and that this was the chance to build some bridges. Am I the asshole? It's James's responsibility to build those bridges, not OP's. If James really wants the help, maybe he could start with an apology and act like the adult he is. I mean, he's 28. He should know better. There's nothing wrong with going through a hard time. A lot of us end up at least going through one at least once in our life, and it's not something that we usually have full control over. It happens. We stumble upon hard times, and there's never an issue with needing help from others to get yourself out of that. I know I've been there, and it was definitely a hell of a climb to get out, and I had help. People who look down on those who have struggled have never once had to buy a box of mini-wheats and label it as dinner. The thing is, though, like James, if you climb the ladder by stepping on people's hands and shoulders to make your way up, if you fall off that ladder, you're passing them on the way down. And how you treated them determines whether or not they're going to reach a hand out and catch you before you fall. Cross-posted from r/Am I the Asshole. Am I the asshole for how I responded to my ex and his affair partner about her infertility? My ex-husband, 40 male, cheated on me, 34 female, with a coworker, 36 female, otherwise known as affair partner. I found out about the affair 3 years after it started. At the time, my husband and I had 3 very young children together. I kicked him out and filed for divorce. He moved in with his affair partner. They fought for full/primary custody of the children in the divorce, using the 2-parent household as an excuse. They lost. Custody is shared and parenting time is 50-50. He married her before the ink was dry on our divorce papers. Things were, and on my end still are, very hostile. She didn't like that I wished for him to do the same to her. He didn't like that I told his family I tested for STDs after learning of his affair. The only reason I told his family is they wanted to know why I couldn't be friends for the kids' sake. I told them because before the affair partner, there was another coworker I now suspect he also had sex with, or wanted to at least, and because of those 2 things, I wanted to be sure he didn't give me anything. My ex told me it was petty and gross when he had one affair only, and it was only with one woman for 3 years. My ex and I use a co-parenting app for communication, and I ignore calls and texts. The times this gets tricky is face-to-face. I need to keep up some kind of civility if my kids might see us together, which is more difficult than some would believe. But I love my kids more than I hate him. Our kids are school age now, and doing okay. They prefer my house and have a hard time being at their dad's house some weeks. I have them seeing a therapist to help them process, but I know none of this is ideal. My ex and his affair partner were warned about pressuring the kids to call her mom or mama something, which they were doing for a while, and this was backed up by the therapist. The kids don't like affair partner, and I celebrate that in my head every single day. You will never hear me say I'm sad they don't feel like they have 2 moms when she's supposed to be the second mom. I find her disgusting to think she can knowingly help destroy their parents' marriage and then try to make them hers. I do not share any of these feelings with my kids, but the kids know there are issues between mom and dad. They also have some understanding that their dad cheated. This was not something I told them, but how badly he tried to explain some things to them when they asked him questions. He doesn't believe in therapy, so there was no professional backup to help him. So, anyway, around Halloween, my ex and the affair partner approached me at the school's Halloween event. Ex told me we needed to speak, and I told them, unless it was about the kids, we did not. In a quieter moment, they caught me alone, and they told me that affair partner is infertile and cannot have biological children, and they've been trying for years. They told me it would mean so much if I would let go of my hate for them and be more kind to her and encouraging to her and the kids bonding so that she doesn't feel like an outsider forever. He told me her infertility was painful, and she loves our kids, and I have successfully stopped them bonding with her. But as someone who always wanted to be a mom and got to be, I should be compassionate. I asked them why they were telling me their own personal private business that was nothing to do with me. My ex went from calm and pleading to pissed in seconds. He told me that was a disgusting reaction, and that at the very least I could have offered her my sympathies as my fellow co-parent and our kid's third parent. I walked away because I did not want to discuss it or argue in case someone, especially our kids, heard. He then texted me several times that night asking where I get my disgusting insensitivity from. He also tried to bring it up at a meeting the two of us had with the school over one of our children who was not present. I'm ignoring him, but he's enraged and I had to send the text over to my attorney for documenting. I expect this to have blown over by now, and clearly it hasn't. For that reason alone, I wanted to check what other people thought of my response. Am I the asshole? So, genuinely, OP is doing everything right. She's not shit-talking the other parents to the kids. She's maintaining her distance. She's keeping things professional and doing things for the safety of the kids and for the sake of them. Hell, the response boiling down to, "Why are you involving me in your personal business?" is a perfect way to approach that. It's not insulting, it's not targeted, it's just an honest response of, "This is none of my business, you made your bed, now lie in it." There's also a logical inconsistency here of, when she's not able to have biological kids, her next approach is to try and force the children of the affair to like her and to see her as mom. So the aspect of the kids being biological is not part of the question here. If I'm going to put my tinfoil hat theory on, my guess would be this was a manipulation tactic. They wanted to see if they could use the affair partner's infertility to essentially force the kids to like her, and to see if maybe they could spill the beans of the mom purposely trying to turn them against her. That would actually potentially further a case of parental alienation if they wanted to pursue that route and get full custody, because that was part of their original approach. Which, of course, this didn't go the way they wanted it to. Because if they really did want kids, and they wanted that maternal connection and bond, then the thing is, they could have adopted. Because the question of biological children isn't in consideration here because she wants to see OP's kids as her own. So the biological connection isn't part of the equation. And if you really want that connection, instead of trying to force the kids to feel it, just go and adopt. And it's because they're not doing that that makes me wonder or consider that tinfoil hat theory. Cross-posted from r/am I the asshole. Am I the asshole for storming off from my sister's wedding after she dead-named my son? I'm a 45-year-old single father of 3. Our mom died 10 years ago. I have 3 sons, 17-year-old Andrew, 15-year-old Connor, and 14-year-old Max. Connor was born female. He is trans. He came out as trans 5 years ago and has now socially transitioned, not yet physical. My sister, 38 female, got married. Me and my sons were also involved. My family has known that Connor is trans for 2 years now. Some have adjusted well, some not so much. My sister is pretty indifferent about it. Her wedding was really super well organized to the last detail. She wanted all the men to wear shirt plus tie, and then the women sundresses. I texted her a picture of our outfits the day before the wedding, and she said, "Where's Nia's dress?" I was a bit surprised and told her not to dead-name my son, and that he'll be wearing a shirt and tie like the rest of the men there, or we aren't coming. She said fine, and that was it. At the reception, my sister got mad that Connor was wearing a tie, but didn't say much after that. When we sat down at our table, the card Nia was there. I went to my sister and she said she used their real name. I told her me and the boys are leaving, and she told me, "Don't you dare cause a scene at my wedding! Nia can be a guy any other day." I called her a bigot and we left. My family says I ruined her wedding. Father stood up for his son. That's really all there is to see here. While the sister might act indifferent, she let her colors fully show here. And by the sounds of it, so did a majority of your family. You stood up for your son. who is already socially transitioned, and for him to basically have to detransition for a single fucking wedding and go by their dead name just because the sister probably just wanted to keep up normal appearances. Yeah, fuck that. It's like, what, you're basically gonna have someone who's male presenting dressing in a dress for the wedding. Is that what you want? You could just have OP's son wear a shirt and tie and he'll fit in perfectly. Instead, she chose to be disrespectful, not respecting who Connor is, and opted to make an ass out of herself and basically just stated, yeah, you're ruining my wedding if you choose not to respect who your son is. OP said, fuck that, you're not disrespecting my son, and walked. You ruined your own wedding here. She knew for 2 years. This wasn't a situation where you're still adjusting to someone's transition and you make the occasional slip up with pronouns or their name. That happens. The important part is how you respond. If you double down, you're the asshole. If you correct yourself and apologize, you're fine. Old habits are hard to break, but what matters is you're there for that person in that moment and willing to adjust and learn. OP's sister was not willing to do that. They were fully aware and asked why Connor wasn't wearing a dress. Cross-posted from r/am I the asshole. Am I the asshole for telling my husband's best friend he let himself go after he wouldn't stop teasing me about my crush on him in high school? I met my husband in high school, back when I didn't think much of myself. We had a biology class together and sat next to each other. I thought he was cute, but I didn't pay much attention to him until I found out he was close friends with the guy I had a crush on, who I'll call Jared. After that, I started talking to my husband more, and because he's genuinely kind, he welcomed it. Eventually, we became close enough to hang out outside of class, and through him, I got to know Jared and the rest of their friend group. I tried for a long time to get Jared's attention, but he never showed any interest. When he got a girlfriend, I was crushed. My husband comforted me and told me I was beautiful and that Jared just didn't see it. Not long after, my husband confessed his feelings. Being a stupid teenage girl, I agreed to date him, even though I still had leftover feelings for Jared, mostly because I wanted to feel wanted. But after a few months, Jared became single again, and I realized I didn't care the way I once did. That's when I knew I truly loved my husband, and only my husband. Years passed and Jared went through a few relationships. His last breakup hit him hard. Sadly, his girlfriend cheated. And when that happened, he started coming over a lot to vent. Over time, he changed from the confident, attractive guy I once liked to someone more withdrawn, chubbier, and honestly not taking good care of himself. That's when the teasing about high school started. At first, it was just him complaining about how he used to look, but then he kept bringing up how obsessed I was with him. I ignored it because I figured he was just reminiscing on his old days. But it didn't stop. Yesterday night, he came over again and went on the same rant about how popular he used to be. Then he threw in another comment about how I was so in love with him back then, and even added, I knew you liked me, but you were not someone I'd ever consider being with in high school. No offense. It was insulting, and even my husband looked uncomfortable. I was tipsy and fed up, so I snapped and said, well, it doesn't matter because you don't even look as good as you did in high school. I don't care if I was never your type because you're definitely not mine anymore. He looked shocked. My husband gasped, and I immediately felt overwhelmed and apologized. Jared got up to leave, but he was too drunk to drive, so my husband took him to our guest room while I stayed downstairs in shock. We barely spoke the rest of the night. The next morning, Jared left, and my husband finally talked to me. He understands why I was upset, but he thinks it was wrong to say something so harsh when Jared is clearly depressed and struggling with his weight. I get that, but I'm still angry that Jared kept pushing the same hurtful comments over and over. It feels like he's bragging about how I used to like him, and it rubs me the wrong way. So, Reddit, be honest but not brutal. Am I the asshole? Side note, yes, this is real, this is a throwaway account, yes, I know it's random to be writing this at 2 a.m., but I'm very conflicted at the moment. Also, hopefully the formatting is easy to read and not annoying. I tried my best. This is another one of those misery begets misery kind of situations here. Like when someone's down on your luck, yeah, it's good to kind of, boost them up a bit and hear them out, let them vent, and kind of help them get back on their feet. But if someone's down on their luck and they're actively dragging you down with them, that's not fair. And it's just incredibly disrespectful to the people who are trying to be there for you. Jared has people who are trying to be there for him and actively listen to him and be there for him during his time of strife. But he's using this opportunity to be like, yeah, by the way, your wife used to be so into me. His comments aren't just directed towards OP, they're also inadvertently directed towards her husband. He's hitting two birds with one stone here. If I had to guess, I think the husband's behavior is a mix of trying to defend his wife, but also trying to be there for his friend, and in the process, kinda dropping the ball in my opinion. Lots of moving parts. Okay, so I checked OP's profile to see if there were any comments to maybe shed some additional light, just for the hell of it. There's a pretty fucking massive update, not gonna lie. Update post. Hey peeps, I woke up today to a lot of comments, and even though it was a bit overwhelming, I read all of them, and I mean all. A lot of people had negative things to say about my husband, which honestly hurt, because I don't think I painted him in a bad light. Somehow, he's being attacked more than Jared is. Before I get into the mini update, I've seen other posters add context and respond to common comments, so I'm going to do the same. This will be long. Bear with me, guys. 1. My husband is not a terrible person. I still love him despite everything I mentioned and despite what I'm going to mention in the update. He is not weak or a beta, like some people said. He just struggles to confront situations like this directly. Jared has been his best friend since 5th grade. That is not a bond that breaks easily. They went to the same elementary school, high school, and university. They're basically brothers. My husband is not sucking up to Jared because he thinks Jared is better than him. If Jared weren't in such a low place, my husband would have been much harsher. I don't think my husband is perfect. He has done messed up things in the past, but so have I, and I believe people can change. 2. I do not have feelings for Jared. That ended years ago. And no, if Jared had stayed in shape, I still wouldn't have feelings for him. I stopped liking him during our first year of university. We went to the same school, and he still looked the same as he did in high school. So it wasn't his appearance that changed things. He broke up with his girlfriend, and I realized I didn't care anymore. The old me would have been excited and tried to shoot my shot, but instead, I felt nothing. I love my husband, and only my husband. Jared is not an option for me in any way. 3. Some people suggested Jared might have feelings for me, which is possible. He has made comments about my appearance before. I worked hard to glow up during my final year of high school because I wanted to improve myself before university. When my husband and I met up with Jared for the first time after that, Jared told me I looked very different. He said it as a compliment. My husband agreed because he thought Jared was just stating the obvious, not flirting. 4. Divorce is not an option for me. I am very religious and I take my vows seriously. They are not something I would throw away over this situation. Divorce is not always the solution, so before you comment divorce, remember that we are real people who have real history, and it is a lot harder to divorce someone than you think it is. Update. I did not show my husband the post, even though many people suggested it. A lot of the comments felt sexist and harsh towards him, and I don't want to expose him to that. But after reading everything, I did want to talk to him about his inability to stand up for me. He told me he didn't want to isolate Jared right now. I didn't know this before, but according to my husband, Jared became a bit suicidal after the breakup with his girlfriend, and my husband was the only one who could pull him out of that downward spiral. I felt sympathy for Jared, and I told my husband that. But after reading so many comments, I realized that doesn't excuse Jared's behavior, so I pushed for more answers. I also asked my husband if it made him uncomfortable when Jared constantly brought up high school. My husband paused, and I immediately knew he was holding something back. I kept pushing until he finally told me something I never thought I would hear. During our first year of university, Jared started mentioning me more during private conversations with my husband. My husband felt proud of dating me and kept saying things like he had invested in me. That really hurt, but it got worse. He admitted that he used to brag about my body and looks to Jared, showed him pictures of me dressed up for date nights. Then, it escalated. Jared ended up seeing a picture of me with no clothes on, something meant only for my husband. According to him, it was an accident because he was scrolling through his photo album and the picture popped up. My husband said that when Jared started bringing up high school, he was scared Jared might bring up what happened in university and that I would be furious. I'm disgusted knowing Jared has seen me like that. It makes all of his comments about me so much worse. My husband is at work right now, which is why I have time to write this. I'm still processing everything, and I feel completely lost. I don't want him to be late for work, so we weren't able to talk much. Knowing him, he's probably at work stressing right now about me knowing the truth. If it really was an accident, I feel like I can't be completely mad, but it still feels awful knowing my photos were shown without my consent. I feel betrayed, even if I don't think my husband meant for that picture to be seen. I'm still angry that he bragged about me like I was some new sports car that he got a great deal on. I know this is going to make a lot of people hate him even more, but I genuinely don't think he intended for any of this to happen. I know this isn't the update most people expected. I still need to talk to my husband when he gets back from work, and I'm hoping I can invite Jared over later today for a conversation. I will try to update as soon as I can because I hate when updates take so long. I appreciate all the comments that were respectful towards me and my husband, but I do understand the outrage. Thanks for reading this long update, and thank you to everyone who commented on the original post. Heart. Edit, made a comment earlier that wasn't getting noticed and got buried. Sad face. So I decided to add an edit here. I won't post an update until tomorrow, when I've had time to gather my thoughts. I have spoken to my husband since the update, and let's just say things are not going great. Just because I want to clear things up, I'll write it here. 1. When I say I'm religious, I mean I'm Christian. Divorce is frowned upon in my faith because it is believed you should never marry someone you aren't completely sure about. This is not saying I wouldn't divorce him if he did something extreme like cheating or abuse. It is just acknowledging the importance of commitment in a marriage. The people hating on my religion and saying I'm brainwashed are being incredibly irrational. You have clearly jumped to conclusions based on your own biases about certain religions. 2. I apologize if it sounds like I'm excusing my husband's behavior. I absolutely think that what he did was wrong, and today we discussed a few things related to his spineless behavior. I won't talk much about what we discussed until the update because he has decided to have a one-on-one conversation with Jared. I'd rather wait until then to piece everything together meaningfully. My husband will be made aware of this threat because I believe I may have been coddling him too much. I will probably show him after posting this comment, and if all goes well, I will try my best to update tomorrow when he speaks to Jared. 3. I repeat that my husband is not a misogynist. Although some of you think that I am a typical stay-at-home trophy wife, I am actually a business owner, which allows me to work from home. Even though my husband makes more than I do, he does not dictate our finances or act like the man of the house or anything like that. Please understand this. I would never date a misogynist, let alone marry one. My husband is not the type to reduce women to their bodies, despite some of you believing I'm his property. I fear some of you may have lost the plot. My husband is not the type to hide spicy folders. Just last year, we made a folder of our spicy content and put a password on it. He never used to do that. I recently asked to do it to protect our privacy since he doesn't let anyone near his phone anyway. I genuinely believe he was scrolling through pictures of me in his gallery, and the photo popped up. Although one commenter made a good point about why he made such a big deal about it, that is the only thing making me question the situation. 4. I want to thank the people who were extra harsh because it was definitely a wake-up call, even though seeing all the negative comments was starting to get to me. I do believe you all have the best intentions, and I truly appreciate how people from different countries can come together to talk sense into me, despite never meeting me in person. I might sound naive or stupid to some of you, but it is much harder to notice red flags when you're the one experiencing them. 5. Finally, I will not be divorcing my husband. I've seen people mention therapy, and I think that is justified. I'd rather talk things out on our own first, since I'm not great at confessing my feelings to real-life people in person, especially when their job is to judge you. I believe my husband can learn from his mistakes and change, just like I have in the past. There is a second update. First, I want to thank everyone for the kind and actually helpful messages. I also really appreciate the comments that are not being rude and genuinely want to help in my situation. I also found out today that my post was shared on some YouTube videos, and the comments there were constructive, so thanks if you were some of the people who commented on those posts. Now, let's just dive straight into the update, as there is a lot to unpack. Update. Before I sat down with my husband, I called Jared. I know many of you said not to, but I followed a Redditor's plan. Thank you to the person who messaged me this idea. It worked. The plan was to accuse Jared of taking my husband's phone back in university to look for my spicy photos, hoping he would panic and reveal the truth. If he denied everything, I would say my husband told me he did it, so Jared would not feel the need to protect him. I know this was extreme, but so many comments insisted my husband was lying, and it genuinely made me rethink my marriage. A part of me still hoped it was not true, which is why I am relieved to finally know what happened. The call with Jared went like this. I told him I knew what he did in university. He was confused at first, then went silent, then insisted he never looked for nudes. He admitted he scrolled through my husband's photos of me only because my husband gave him the phone, which matched the bragging story. He also saw a nude by accident. He said he immediately showed my husband and smirked because he thought I looked hot, and he thought my husband did a Good job. My husband apparently grabbed the phone and begged him not to tell me. This matched what my husband told me later, except he left out the smirk. After the call, Jared called my husband. I was angry at first, thinking they planned a story, but then realized my husband would not have told me about the call if he wanted to lie. I showed him the Reddit thread. He was upset I posted about our situation and worried Jared might see it, but he calmed down when I explained I changed names and details. When he started reading comments, he became defensive and began spiraling, asking why I would entertain them. He raised his voice until I said maybe they were right and maybe we should not be together. That snapped him out of it. He apologized, begged me not to leave, and kept reading. He agreed with some comments defending him and even thanked me for defending him in my updates. He told me through tears that he did not want to lose me. He talked about loving me, trying to make me feel secure, and never wanting to dehumanize me. He said he was not bragging about my body in the way I described. He felt I made him look bad and pointed out that women brag about their partners being handsome and fit all the time, and it is seen as normal. Yet when he did it, it was seen as creepy. I understood the double standard. When I asked why he did not defend me when Jared made those comments, he said he was sorry and saw it as an attack on himself rather than me. He said he let it slide because Jared was depressed and he did not want to confront him. He thought my reaction was me defending him and felt I went too far, but said he appreciated it and was only scared Jared might mention the nude photos out of spite. I told him I reacted because I felt attacked. He then said he asked Jared to apologize to me when he comes over tomorrow because he could see how upset I was. I was surprised and annoyed because even though I was okay calling Jared, I did not want him in our home yet. I made notes about things to talk about, including the "I invested in you" comment. He said it was a joke and that he was attracted to me in high school, but thinks I look even better now. It still made me feel bad, and he could tell, which led him to kiss me and tell me that I am beautiful. I tried not to cave in emotionally, so I pushed him back and continued. I also brought up his friendship with Jared. He admitted he has always been insecure about my past crush on Jared, but thought I would see him as jealous if he cut Jared off, especially since I stayed friends with him after we got together. After we married and Jared let himself go, he no longer saw him as a threat. He told me that if I wanted him to cut off Jared, he would. He said our relationship mattered more than his friendship, and that although he would be upset, he would choose me. I said I was not sure what to do with that yet. I reassured him that I only love him, not Jared. I do not want to clarify that I never felt unsafe around Jared, but I dislike the things he said about me. Now that I know the truth, things feel different. Should I make him cut Jared off? My husband promised to do anything to make this right, and I believe him. I am not divorcing him. He loves me and is willing to change, but I am considering therapy for us or for myself. I am very grateful for everyone who reached out and replied to my post. I am not sure another update is needed, but if you want to know what happens with Jared, I can update. I will try to respond to comments in the meantime. Thank you, everyone. I am sorry that I read that at the pace that I did. That was a lot, and if I didn't read it, we would be here for probably an additional 3 to 4 minutes. There's a comment on the update from MissBean163. You're trying so hard to paint your husband in the best possible light in each update, but you realize so many people are still seeing through it. Like, you're probably thinking, oh, they don't know him like I do. But girl, you are painting him in the most generous, kind light, and so many commenters are still side-eyeing him. How much worse is the reality? There is so much to unpack there, but this whole situation is just a goddamn train wreck. That was a lot to read, and I have a main channel video to work on, so I'm just going to take a step back from this one and allow you guys to have your fun in the comments, because I don't know what to really add if I'm gonna be 100% with you all. Don't forget, today we're launching the 3 opossums in a trench coat plush. Coming live at yeah. You saw the intro. You know what time it is. It's 12 p.m. EST, or 10 a.m. MST if you're a Mountain Standard Time kind of person, like me. But you should definitely buy this plush. It is totally not 3 opossums in a trench coat. Totally not. You should definitely allow this completely non-conspicuous, oddly shaped, distinguished gentleman into your home, who will certainly not lay claim to your pantry. This is in fact 3 opossums in a trench coat who will in fact lay complete desolation to your fridge, pantry, and potentially garbage. On sale soon! Or now, if you're watching this video after it goes live.